Hey, Joe, you there?
Maybe.
There he is.
There you are.
Hi.
Yes. Ooh, that's
There-
bright.
There's that guy. Hey, man,
Hi.
how's Atlanta treating you?
It's like a baby treats a diaper.
Yeah.
Um, that's a
Ouch.
line from Cheers, from Norm on Cheers, that I always love using.
Nice.
No, Atlanta's great. It's a little full of pollen, I've noticed. Rivers of green powder are floating in the streets.
Yep.
So other than that, though, it's great.
Yeah, it's the same thing here. Is it super windy for y'all today? It is
Yeah.
like hurricane winds over here in Montgomery. It's ridiculous today.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's down there as well, but like we were out in the woods today scouting, and I'm like, okay, I'm just later tonight, I'm just gonna sneeze my head off, and it's gonna be just grand. Love it.
Well, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. All right. Well,
you
shall
guys
we
doing?
jump? Good. And you, yeah.
Good. Good to see all everybody.
Yeah.
It's been a
good.
while.
Yeah. It's good. It's
We appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and talk.
Yeah.
No worries. If it wasn't this, I just got back from the scout, and there's like a slew of emails, and you're just like, So this is much better.
Nice.
I hope.
Nice. Yes,
I
we
hope.
will.
I hope so too.
Yes, we will endeavor to make this interview better than responding to emails. So
I'm hoping you're not like, I was like, I wonder if they're going to ask a lot of questions about certain episodes or seasons. And I'm like, because it's all a little jumbled in my head.
that's
Working
okay.
through the movie has been good because you're kind of remembering a lot of things. But
Yeah.
sure.
Nice. All
Try to keep
right.
it broad
Yeah.
because it has been a while for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff was mentioning some line. Remember when somebody said, and it was something from when we went and did that episode in Mexico. What was that? What was that family's name? Calvera. or something like that?
Calaveras.
Calaveras.
Calavera.
Yeah, we were talking about that actress, and she said some line, and Jeff said it to me yesterday at the stage, and I'm like, wait, was that in the show? He's like, yes, it was in the show. I love that line. And I was like, sorry.
Jeff's got like a photographic memory or for like
Yeah.
everything. He can just recall anything from the show. And it's
pretty
just
good.
like, I believe you when you say we did that. I don't remember at all. So yeah. So all right. Well, let's dive in. Joe, how did you get into producing?
Made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. That's another good line I like using.
Was that
Let's
Bugs
see.
Bunny?
Yeah, something like that. Made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. How did I get? I kind of fell into it a little bit, and I wanted to do something in television and film. I didn't know what that was. I went for a kind of a communications major at school, started taking some of the film classes, and just, said, I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I like watching television and I like movies. So I came out to California and started doing script reading, and started PAing at Roger Corman's film company at the time, doing free PA work. And that led to a job as an assistant to Mike Elliott, who is my producing partner now, and led me down to work on a bunch of films down at the studio at Corman. And that was my film school. So 2 years there, and 20, 30 films. It was like a ton of stuff. And in all aspects of production, and trying to do all various jobs. And I think I've done all the jobs, except for those fine-tuned like camera pulling, those focus pulling. Haven't done any of that, just camera loading. But all those jobs gave me a little practical foundation for all departments, and that led to producing eventually, UPMing, line producing, then producing.
Nice.
So
very cool.
That was the path. A little random.
Was that still New World Pictures? Has Corman always been? Is that always been his company, or is this a different company?
No, it wasn't New World. It was I know New World. No, I think it was just Corman Studios.
Oh, okay.
New Horizons. New
Okay.
Horizons. Is what it was.
Nice. Very cool. Well, then, how did you end up in Beacon Hills?
Made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. No, I ended up in Beacon Hills because MTV was looking for a producer to do the Teen Wolf pilot, which was a presentation at the time. And I was recommended to the production executive from two different sources. So yeah, I went in to interview to produce the pilot, and I met during that interview Jeff Davis, and I met Russell Mulcahy, who I was super excited to meet during that interview because I was a big fan of Highlander.
Oh, yeah.
So I was super excited to meet him there, and I think what got me the job was I think they were nervous about doing the show, the script Jeff did on a budget. And I said, you can make anything on any budget as long as you're willing to compromise. And I think right there, they're like, perfect. Come to Atlanta. So I think that was it. But that's how I first met everybody, the Teen Wolf world, and we kicked it off about 10 years ago, 2010, I think.
Yeah, 2010. So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what has it been like working with Jeff Davis?
It's been really rewarding, and it's been great. It's been a great friendship. He's super knowledgeable about the craft, about writing, about structure. Will, obviously, from being in the room, and even doing this past story break on the movie. Great examples. He's got a wealth of knowledge about the writing process, and just his creative choices and his rhythm for creation has actually been the biggest thing, because he always says in the room, he writes in a certain way that as they say the dialogue, there's a flow and there's a pattern and a rhythm to it. And it's much like when he kind of goes through the producer cuts in the episodes with the pacing. You can see a rhythm in the pacing in the editorial, which is his hand, and actually sound as well. His knowledge of themes and scores from films is quite vast, and it's actually played in great with a variety of our sequences in the episodes. So it's been really rewarding and wonderful to participate in this venture and others with him.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone's only had positive things to say about Jeff, who we've talked to so
We
far.
should do the next podcast about the negative stuff then. On the dark web.
Yes.
Dark web.
I will not
Dark web
participate.
podcast.
Yeah, I will not participate because I would like Jeff to hire me again. So you're pretty secure, Joe. So you can do whatever you want.
It's always so fragile. Could break any minute.
How often did you go to the set? And do you have any fun stories from set?
Went to set. I'm on set every day in some capacity. It depends on if, the room's still going at the time. You go to set in the morning, get everything kicked off, then you kind of go spend time in the room. But there's always fires to put out in production. So it's, a little back and forth once cameras are officially rolling. But go to set pretty much every day. Fun stories. Yeah, there are a bunch of fun stories, and maybe even some embarrassing ones. But overall, I don't know if you've been on set, you kind of get it, because you're hanging a lot out for a very long time with a specialized group of people, and so your inside jokes and your combined experience, what's being told on set, and the ribbing you give to each other, it's just this weird on-set community where you're kind of exhausted. You wait around a long time chatting about various things, then you quickly run around and do the work. But for some reason, that's super bonding. It's like, manic in a way, and then really sedated. So I'm making it sound like a mental condition, which I guess it is in any respects. But it's there's always funny stuff on set, but it's rewarding all the time. So no specific funny incidents. I'd have to think about that for a little bit of time, but nothing is popping up. It's all just good, even when it's bad.
Yeah, I've mentioned a couple times that even on our worst day, that there was never a time when I didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
Where it's just you have just an awful drag out hell of a day, and then the next morning my alarm goes off at 6 or whatever it is because I got to get to the office, and I'm just like, I'm excited. I get to go back and do this thing I love so much, even though it kills you a lot of the time.
We're not making widgets, so it's every day is new. I mean, even we laugh at it now, but like those first 2 seasons are freezing in Atlanta for some reason. You never like think about it, like working nights in November, December in Atlanta are some of the coldest nights I've ever worked on a production. And to the point where after the first night, like night 1 of filming, I think season 1 or season 2, everybody was freezing. So then the next day was like Saturday, and everybody ran into everybody at REI. Everybody was buying like warm clothes. And then I remember the next week, I remember Russell had this REI, this yellow kind of ribbed outer jacket, but he was backed up too close to the propane heaters. And you could just hear the sizzling happen, not knowing really what's going on. But he's just trying to stay so warm that his jacket's just like melting. Plastic just melting across.
Oh,
I think we went through a lot of Actually, that's only one. I know there's like 3 I remember. And he kind of walk around with the burnt sleeve for a little while. For a couple of weeks. Tim did that too. I think Tim's jacket burnt once. There's a lot of burnt REI jackets on set.
I get it. The things we do to stay warm. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you mentioned Atlanta. The show moved from Atlanta to Los Angeles in season 3. What was the biggest hurdle moving that production 3,000 miles?
It's kind of like we had a bunch of sets up. We had to decide what we thought was going to play in season 3. And the logistics of taking it down and folding everything in just the right way, putting it on lowboys or trailers, whichever we had from the shipping company. I think we had 5 or 6 trailers go out there to 8,400.
Yeah.
I think 8,400 Balboas were.
That's right.
Where it was, right?
Yeah. That was my first job when I was officially hired as a full-time employee, was to sit in a parking lot and watch people unload trailers for like a week. Yeah.
Look at that. But I remember, and we unloaded them, and just getting it all situated so you didn't have anything left in Atlanta, and everything had moved over to LA. That was the biggest hurdle, I think. Other than that, it was really a good experience, and season 3 really went really well for us. So it was a good experience overall.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
Who in the Teen Wolf cast or crew would make the best alpha?
Jeff Davis would make the best alpha. Make sure you send that clip to him right now.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Or in the cast or crew, cast wise, and Tyler Posey, he's got like he's got the charisma, the strength, and the heart. And Tyler Hoechlin as well is a great alpha. He's he came on board. He's a producer on the movie. He was filming with us last week, and he's got it's weird to say, but like all the OG cast I keep on calling them kids. They're not kids anymore. And like, are the kids ready to start up the next season? They're not kids. They're like, grown ass adults. And they all have this new strength. And it's kind of like, weird for me sometimes to be interacting with them when they're making sense and not doing kind of stupid kid stuff that maybe they did in the past a little bit.
Nice.
Oh.
Nice. New title of the show: grown ass teen,
grown ass adult.
Grown-ass wolf.
Yeah.
Grown ass wolf.
Yeah.
AW.
So, were you a fan of the original Teen Wolf movie?
Yeah, with Michael J. Fox. Yeah, I
Mhm.
was. I was a fan of that movie, and I don't know. Yeah, I think of that movie, and the line that I keep remembering from that movie is from the Styles character when Michael J. Fox came up, and he said something like, "Have you heard of any disease or cold or anything going around the school?" And Styles like, "Why, you looking to catch something?" And for some reason it was just so absurd and funny that I always remember that line for some reason. And surfing on the van.
Oh yeah.
Surfing on the van. Oh,
Were you
man.
surprised at how different the television adaptation was whenever you came onto the project?
No, because they had started doing, was Vampire Diaries right before us? I think a year before us,
Yeah.
maybe. They started doing kind of that darker fare. And so I know ours would be a little grittier, a little darker. And I love that we dove into a lot of the horror, and having, Russell, especially on that, was great. So I wasn't surprised. We don't have, I wouldn't say we're very tongue in cheek that often. Maybe there are a couple instances that keep us a little grounded from just being, what would American Horror Story or something that dark and kind of weird. But I thought we found a really great tone for it. Supernatural, the horror, comedy, and family stuff, family drama, the romance. I think we really kind of nailed all those aspects when we started presenting. So really proud of it. Yeah, and I think you find a nice niche.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely different from the movie, but I love the movie. It's great.
Joe, you directed The Maid of Gévaudan. What was it like taking Teen Wolf back to the 18th century?
It was like increasing the budget 200% just for that one episode. That's what it was like.
It's great that you have such a good relationship with the exec producer, and for that one episode was able to squeeze more money out of the budget, unlike the other 99.
In his genius, he said we should spend on this episode. I don't know how he thought through that so quickly, but he really wanted to spend on this episode. It was great. One of the fringe benefits. I have an affinity towards historical stuff. I kind of gravitate towards those episodes. I did the other one with the World War II stuff, and I love that stuff. I love the flashback stuff, and doing 18th century. The 18th century. I knew of that story, The Maid of Gévaudan, and there's the movie that kind of hit on it. We referenced a lot.
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yeah, that was great. So it was great. I was super excited to do it. Obviously, we had a lot of, we had to make it snow. We had to create French taverns and houses and basements and stuff. And our production designer, Tom was great at Tom Hallbauer was great at conceptualizing almost like a modular tavern that turned into an inn, a basement, kind of a recluse's shack in the woods. Really great use of production design there. So it was fun. It was super exciting. Loved all the wardrobe, period piece stuff, the weaponry, the climate, the hunting for the wolf in the snowy Griffith Park location, torches, all that kind of stuff. I really loved it. It was great. Super fortunate for me, and I was very happy that I had the opportunity to do that. Very generous of Jeff MTV for allowing me to do that. It was exciting.
Yes, it's a great episode. You did wonderfully.
It is
Such a good one.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So we've talked a bit about the budget, and that is a topic that has come up with most of the people that we've talked to. So from your perspective, what was it like trying to keep Teen Wolf on budget?
When you have like an enclosed room and you have like a dozen cats running around, there's catnip everywhere, and you're trying to corral them into a little pen. It was impossible. It was like really hard to do this budget. It's like super, it was MTV? Was that a kind of basic cable contract kind of thing? It was it wasn't the best of budgets. I felt we knew what worked for us. We applied the money to what worked. We loved our special effects. We loved our makeup effects. The camera and cinematography was the result of the talent, Dave Daniel, Rich Paisley, it was like they really used their skill to create the images and the looks that maybe you did not see on TV prior to that. And that wasn't fancy rigs or anything like that. That was just really thinking, how does this story affect the creative cinematography here? How does the lighting work? How does the production design weigh into that? All the departments were kind of firing on all cylinders during a lot of those seasons. And that artistry, when it comes together, I love it. I love it when it works. And so the budget, you have to have something there, and you have to have some kind of, a little generosity from the studio there. And they supplied. It was always tight, and we were always, arguing what our passions were for, which set, which actor, which scene, what should we spend money on, and we all decided it was episode 518, Maitre Javedon. So I think we made the right choice. All those minds coming together. No, but I really kudos to the cast and the crew for that, because without that budget would have hurt another show, without trying to work past the limitations of fiscal limitations. We wouldn't have, that's what they did. And that's why the show became successful, and a good looking show at that.
Definitely. We've brought it up with multiple guests where it's like Teen Wolf looks so good. Like that you could show a frame of the show to anybody and ask them what they thought the budget was, and they would say something 2 or 3 times more than what we actually spent on the show, just because everyone brought their A game. And I don't want to lay it all with like, camera and Dave Daniels and all that, but everyone brought their A game, but the show just looked great. Like just looking at the frame, it was so beautiful, and the sets were so good looking, that you would just be like, this must have cost $10 million to make this episode. And it's like,
right.
Well, maybe like a tenth of that, but and it's ridiculous how good our show looked.
It did.
So.
It was that I was actually looking at a clip from the World War II episodes, and I was like, oh my God, we have tanks and like all these German soldiers, and then the Ghost Rider, like all these horses, all these like vintage guns. And I was like, damn, that looks great. It was good. It was good.
Absolutely.
And I have to say, part of it is just like, when you like the characters and you like what you're watching, everything around them is enhanced. Everything becomes better. Like the development of those characters, and it was what Jeff was creating on page. You want to be watching it, and you like what you see, and so everything around it gets that extra little glow. That little cast off glow. So everything gets enhanced in that way. So it's it was unique in many respects, and happy to have been a part of it. Great talent on the crew and the cast.
Absolutely.
An embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
So you've talked a little bit about it, but MTV wasn't a network that was known for their scripted programming. What was it like working with them?
No. MTV. Now, all the folks at MTV were, sometimes you've heard stories, not that I've ever encountered any of the studio executives that I've worked with who have been less than stellar and totally on top of their game. But at MTV, all of those folks were professionals and really great to work with and super supportive. Once we got it up and running and, we showed them what we were doing, it was really a nice little hands off in many respects. There wasn't like bearing down on what we were spending on visual effects or costumes or anything like that. We're really, success breeds a little bit of autonomy, but they were all very helpful and very supportive of the show, and a lot of their marketing and a lot of their kind of promo stuff. And obviously when social media, that's, wasn't young at that time, but they really got it going on the social media front. Even today, I know we're dipping our toe back into it for the movie promotion. So it's kind of fun to be having those discussions again. But it was great working with MTV and obviously growing up when I did with MTV, rising and becoming, what it is today. It's nice to be associated with that network and that channel. It's kind of fun, kind of cool, hip to have your show on MTV. So I'm glad to be working with the folks again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to hear this, right? I want to make sure we send this to them. Just that clip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Directly, to their inboxes.
Exactly. To the Santa Monica office. Oh, wait, no, they're not there anymore. That was years ago, right? They're not.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. They moved. I forgot about them. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite character from Teen Wolf?
I don't, that the original group, the OG group, they're kind of my favorite characters because and when I say that, I mean, when those episodes when we're talking about having anchors and having, your family, your pack, the pack. That's my favorite. My favorite character is the Teen Wolf pack that supported each other, like fought with each other, loved each other. All of them gelling like they did was that's what I like the best. And it's just a great kind of lesson to the audience. Everybody needs that.
Yeah. Very cool.
So can you explain to fans what a typical day working day was like for you when an episode was filming?
Yes. Well, it depends on if we were still in the writer's room at the time or not. Because, you try to get to, in the beginning, you get to work a half hour before call. So you pick up all the problems that are going to befall the day. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but you figure out all the fires that are happening and you try to solve them before call time. And then you watch the rehearsal and they go through their blocking and what have you. The cast goes off to get their makeup, hair done. That's when you go get breakfast. And then you quickly eat your breakfast burrito and come back. And if you timed it all right, all the cast is out of hair and makeup and they're back ready to film the first scene. And you watch the first scene. And then you go to the writer's room for a few hours. And then you kind of bebop as you get your texts and calls for whatever the problem was. And you kind of do that for the next 10 to 12 hours. And then at the end of the day, you usually walk through with the director to figure out what the next morning is going to look like so you can kind of hit it hard. So you want to do a little walkthrough with the AD, the DP, and the director to figure out exactly what the blocking is going to look like on the first scene of the next day. I always like to know what the first shot is of the next day. And I love it when directors can tell me that. Like, okay, this is your scene, you're in the bedroom. What's going to be your first angle, your first shot? Because with everybody knowing that, it's like cameras lining up before you even have to wait for somebody to finish their coffee to come to set to do the blocking, anything like that. So it's a lot of that, but mostly it's putting out fires. It's whatever the production issue, lost a location permit, or this person doesn't have doubles on the clothing, or this we're out of claws on Peter Hale or something like that. These things pop up, and you just go through problem solving.
God, that sounds stressful.
It's actually, if you like puzzles, it's pretty cool. And if you remember, we're not curing cancer or anything really super noble like that. We are kind of warming hearts as we show our show. If you think about it like that, you take a pause and you don't get too stressed out. You're kind of interested to see what comes your way. And I don't, I've grown in my experience where I'm, when some employees coming up and they're in a huff and something went wrong, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, instead of stealing yourself for it, you're all like, I can't wait to see what this is. That person's really upset and they're coming right for me. So you just wonder what that puzzle is going to be and how you can solve it. And then the best part is if you think something totally outside of the box, that works, and that's fun. And then you feel like a successful day.
Great approach to it.
Yeah, it's a very healthy approach, Joe. That's fantastic.
Can you remember?
That's not what my doctor says. No. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's fun. It's fun. Plus, you're making entertainment. You're making a TV show. It's great, or a movie. It's great.
Yeah,
love it.
It's pretty great. So y'all just wrapped the first week on the Teen Wolf movie. How's it going?
Yeah. It's going really well, and it's like we got so many of the yourself included, all the cast and crew back, and it's good to see the old faces coming together, and it's kind of like it just didn't stop, and everybody picks up, everybody knows everybody else's idiosyncrasies or what their little things are, and we do our zing and zagging, and it's everybody fell into step again. It's literally like the 5 years or whatever it was kind of wasn't even there. So it was a lot of fun to see it happen and coalesce again. And it's, we're kind of shooting for the stars. We want like magic to happen again and lightning to hit twice. And I think it is. Great to see everybody, really great. And day one, we were shooting this fight scene in the locker room, and Tyler Posey came in. We were shooting with Tyler Hecklin and Crystal Reed, and Tyler Posey came in because he had the next scene up, and he saw Hecklin, and they hugged so hard, and I took a photo of it, and I was like, ugh, I love it. And, it's like real like friendship and camaraderie on set, and love, love all these folks. So it's very cool.
Oh,
Very cool and heartwarming. It could all go to crap as soon as we do our first night in the woods. It could all tank. Everybody's like, where the hell's the hot coffee? Where's my warm trailer? I'm sure that could happen, but for right now, it's bliss.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Great. Fans were wanting for the longest time either season 7 or spin-off or a movie. How did the film come to fruition?
We have a lot of cast, and coordinating all of those folks at one time period is super difficult. But hats off to Viacom, to Paramount Plus for wanting to hit go on it, and pressing the metal down on the car really hard to try to like, okay, this is serious, let's get together. No, we're not just talking about, let's get it, come on, what are the things, what's the timeline, and really wanting to make this work, because obviously there's a lot of reboots happening out there. We've seen them all. Some some are we've waited a long time for. Some happen really a little too fast, but I think this is actually a sweet spot for Teen Wolf. Just the enough longing and, enough already. Give us a reboot. So I think it's kind of a sweet spot, and our kids are at their kids. Our cats are at a right age where we want to see them again, and they still have the kind of the juice and the flavor for the show that they want to come back and make it happen again. So
nice.
Paramount Plus put it together, and we're happy to be here and happy to wrangle everything we need for the movie. So
that's awesome.
Exciting.
That's
Everyone's
so
very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
If you could be any Teen Wolf creature, what would you be?
Probably a kitsune, actually. I don't know if that's just because we're dealing with them now in the movie, and all the Japanese mythology, but I really loved that season of Japanese mythology and all kind of the spirit creatures, and from it, I thought it worked really well. I love swordplay. I love dueling and fighting with swords and all that kind of stuff. I love the discipline of it. So I think that would be super cool. I think it'd be super cool.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't want to be a Kanema. That's just
Don't want to be a were-lizard?
No.
Not today. Not today.
So we talked about you directing. You also wrote 2 episodes of Teen Wolf. How did that come about?
Again, generosity of Jeff, and he thought I was at a point where I could take a crack at a script, and it worked out great. It was a great experience. I'm usually in the room, in the writer's room, mostly to say, no, we can't do that. We'll never afford that. But to a point where, what probably happened? I probably said to him, well, let's do this and then this and then this. And he goes, well, why don't you just write that? And they're like, okay. That's what probably happened. He probably got sick of me suggesting something. But no, he was great. And he's been a great mentor in that capacity. And it's always fun to engage new muscles, creative muscles, if you will. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode or season of the show?
Favorite season would be season 3. I thought we hit our stride, and really everything was pumping in that season. Visually, actor wise, everything was really coming together, and I really enjoy that season. I think all of our strengths were on display. How you kind of gear up and you get going. And I think we just, hit our stride in that season. Favorite episode? Yeah, 518. Those are the best. No, I love all the historical flashback stuff. 518, it was just a big favorite of mine. Not because I directed it at all, but I don't know. I was just super excited to tell that story and meld it into our Teen Wolf world.
They definitely broaden the horizons of the show. Like every season, the show just gets bigger and bigger, which I love. But then you take something like that, and you're just you just visualizing the history with the Argents that we've talked about. It's like they're always mentioning the code and where it came from and the history, and then it's like, well, here it is, guys. Here's how it works.
I love that with the Argents and the Hales. We should have gone back more on the Hales too, because they had a long history as well. And it's that stuff and how those things inform how we are now and how we act with our family and dynamics and everything. It's always starts from somewhere, and that's always nice to examine in stories, especially serialized TV shows where you really have some time to go back and check it all out and see, oh yeah, that's why this is happening now. That's always, and for the fans, I'm sure they loved seeing that kind of thought process play out across the episodes and the seasons themselves.
Yeah. Well, other than the Teen Wolf movie, are there any other upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Yes, we're working with Jeff on Eon Flux. That's the anime series from MTV from the 90s. That's been a super exciting process for us. I know there was a movie in, I think, 2005. This will be a live action series. That has been great. That's, new world building and great characters, and just, you're always kind of, how would they handle things now in this future that we're developing? And Jeff's super excited about that. It's going to be super cool. And I think we already did some scouting for that. And obviously we've broken a lot of the scripts already, and Jeff wrote the pilot for that. And I believe we'll start filming that in January of next year.
Very cool.
It's exciting.
Yeah, that should be super cool. We are also doing a series called Wolfpack, which is not related to Teen Wolf, even though it has wolf in the title, but it's a different IP, and that's a different take on this mythology. It'll be different landscape and different stories. And the biggest difficulty with it is we did that on Teen Wolf. We're not going to do that here. This is how we're going to do it here, and how we're playing with that mythology. That's exciting. It's exciting. Love it. And it's a lot of it is just character dynamics. I know you have this layer of supernatural spreading throughout, but it's character dynamics and how these characters deal with each other. I love it. It's fun.
Character first.
Yeah.
Very excited. Very excited for both those shows.
Yes. And the movie.
Yeah. And the movie.
And the movie. The movie is, we're here in Atlanta. We got the Atlanta portion, go into post in the summer and do a bunch of visual effects, and should be out in the fall.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. So fast.
Well. Be nice to visit this world again and hang out with these kids again. So I hope it spawns more shows.
Absolutely. I'm sure it will. I mean, Teen Wolf, there's so many, the universe is so big. There's so much you can do and all that. And plus people love it. I mean, give people more of the thing they love, so it's good. So.
Agreed.
Awesome. Well, Joe, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule producing a hit movie and hit TV shows that are upcoming. Thank you for talking to us about Teen Wolf. And
great.
Yeah,
and I appreciate you. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. I appreciate you guys keeping Teen Wolf out there and enjoying it again and again. I envious too. I'm like, oh, they got to rewatch blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, I remember that episode. And you guys are kind of recounting stuff, and obviously you're bringing on a bunch of friends that I know and love. So it's always good to hear them chat about it. So it's cool. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep doing it. And we will chat again after the movie, I'm sure.
Yes, no, that'd be totally awesome. Yeah. All right, Joe. Well, you have a great rest of your evening, and we'll be talking to you soon. Okay.
Cool, guys.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.